Today, continuing the series, Powerhouse build coming your way right now. Here it is. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. If you have not seen it, we've done my main build, which is Magician, secondary build, which is Technician, one of my favorite builds, and a sneaky play is the Sculptor build. And now we're doing Powerhouse. Thursday will be the Greenskeeper build if you want to check that one out as well. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. Now, let me just start off by saying this. If you want a build that hits the ball very far, pretty much maxed out driving, and has a lot more going on, I would highly recommend going and checking out my Sculptor build or my Magician build. Especially the Sculptor build, it has a 296-yard driver, which is only 1 yard off the max. So I would highly recommend checking that out. I think overall it's a better build, but this is for those Powerhouse people. Who does this build apply to? It applies to people probably playing at a lower difficulty who wants pretty much max distance across the board. This build is going to be for you. Somebody who can manage a 70s contact, 70s swing path, and just wants max distance to shoot as low as possible, get as much spin on the ball as possible. These are the builds for you. So let's dive on in and let's knock out this build here. So like I said, we are using the same site we've used for all of them. I'm going to build everything to the Amethyst level. I don't have it fully maxed out on all of these builds. So I use this site so that way you guys can see exactly how it goes. We are on Powerhouse here at the top, and this is how we're going to go. So we're going to move, and we're going to do the attributes first, and then the base attributes first, and then we're going to bump up to the fittings afterwards. We're going to put power down to an 83. That's going to give us a starting contact of 59. Pretty low, but don't worry, we'll worry about that when it comes down to fittings. Max out swing path. You're going to have to deal with the low correction on this build. You can't sacrifice any more swing path than you already have. When it comes down to shaping, we're going to move this to 80, give us a 68 recovery. Now, with the new update, I kind of think this is a little bit low of a recovery, but in order to, keep the ball in play, you're going to have to be consistently hitting draws or some sort of shot shaping to make sure that this is staying in play as much as possible. So aim for the short stuff and hope you don't end up in the long stuff. When it comes to rhythm, one of the best parts about Powerhouse build is people who struggle with rhythm. They can get a very high rhythm here. So this might be a really good aspect for you. And remember, you can tailor this build however you want. You can just use this kind of like base attributes here. So when it comes down to rhythm, we're going to actually even these out pretty much. We're going to go 82 transition and we're going to go 80 rhythm. So it's a pretty good spot for both. And you should be hitting your numbers to a T for what you're looking for when it comes to transition and rhythm distance. You guys know, I've talked about this in my other builds. If you have not seen, I putt best on 25 weight, 25 path, maxing these two out. You guys do whatever you need. Pay attention to your meters. If you need more contact, use more contact. If you need more rhythm, use more rhythm. But I found and tested that the best putting stats are when the ball starts on line and when the putt weight is hit at perfect speed, because nothing will drop early, break late, things like that. Putt rhythm is very important as well to making sure of that, but I found it to be not as important when it comes to putting unless you're putting on a legend difficulty and or you're putting from a massive distance like a 60-foot putt. So those are the base attributes that we're going to start with. Now I'm going to change my fittings. We're going to dive into the fittings now. I'm going to change my fittings up compared to what I've normally done. Normally I only do a driver fitting and then I do woods, irons, and wedges all of the same. But this time I'm actually going to switch it up. I'm going to do driver, woods, and irons all the same, and wedges will be different. So how is that going to work for this? So we want max power. So we're going to do 16 fittings at the Amethyst level. So that's going to be a +6, a +5, and a +5. And then you're going to put the other two on contact, which is a +6 and a +5. So you're going to have 3 fittings for power, 3 fittings for contact. That's going to get you a 99 power. So you're going to be maxed out power across board here. Now, 298 says you can is the maxed out version for distances. You're going to get an extra 6 yards a club for your woods and your irons, which is essentially going to be pretty much everybody who's going to be hitting probably 7 irons. You're going to be hitting 9 irons into the greens. So that ball is going to be stopping very quick. It's going to have a lot of spin on it here because I'm at a 99 power. The higher the power, the more the ball spins. And you'll see that in a video next week. But continuing on, it's going to give you, like I said, this is probably not for somebody who wants to play on the legendary difficulty because a 70 contact and a 71 swing path are quite difficult to manage at that higher level difficulty. But this is somebody who's pretty much just going to be able to mash the ball. If you can just figure out a consistent shape, this is going to be a build for you. If these are too low for you, highly recommend going and checking out the Sculptor build. So 3 fittings on power, 2 fitting on contact for driver, woods, and irons. Now, when it comes down to the wedges, you don't want to have maxed out. I mean, you want to have maxed out power, but the problem is when it comes down to this is your wedges might be too long. So, like for instance, the 60-degree wedge is 105 yard full swing with a 60-degree wedge. Like that's going to spin like crazy. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply 1 here. It's going to get you up to an 89 power. So it's going to have a lot of stopping power when it comes to your wedges. And then I'm going to throw 1 fitting on swing path. And what that's going to do is just going to make sure that our wedges are starting off on line. It's going to be very important and very imperative when you're doing chipping that you're chipping at your target. So we're going to get that up to a 77. We're going to have an 89 power with your woods. So you're still going to have a nice gapping there. But at the same time, it's not going to be anything crazy. And then contact 70, like we already talked about, you have to be good in this aspect of managing a lower contact. So that's why I highly recommend going and looking at the Sculptor build. It's just better all around with these pretty much the same exact power. And then putting, how we're going with this, I actually don't have putt weight is at 78. So I'm throwing 2 fittings on putt path, which is going to get it up to an 80. I'm going to throw 1 on putt weight, which is going to get it up to an 84. And then I'm going to throw 1 on putt contact, which is going to get it up to a 50. And this is going to be your putting stats. You're going to have an 84 putt weight. You're going to have a 54 putt contact. You're going to have a 55 putt rhythm. And you're going to have an 80 putt path. So those are going to be pretty good putting stats. And then when you go down to the actual T skills, these, like as always, these are the same across the board of how I do it. I will be looking into a couple of different shots, so these are subject to change across all of my builds. I'm going to be looking more into the choke tee shots. I'm going to rerun some tests to see. I think I've heard some things about it being buffed and more forgiving. So I'm going to look into some choke tee shots. I'm going to look into some choke approach shots as well. I already know the knockdown shot isn't too great. Off the deck isn't really needed. But across the board, I saved the rhythm aspect on all of these. So that way you guys can apply extra things. I love the recovery shot because it gives you a very flexible yardage. Especially if you're using a Powerhouse, the recovery shot is going to be very important when you're in those rough situations. Because you have like 100 yards in which you can hit a club in between. So it becomes very good and very useful. Max out flop, max out super flop. I've been using the blast slightly, but I think it doesn't matter which way you go here with either the power pick or the blast. I don't think either one of them are too useful. Stick to the pick, stick to the splash. Maybe the power pick might be better from longer distances out of the bunker, but I just hit the normal approach shot usually. Fully maxed out green, skip through the runner, skip through the Texas wedge, and then fully maxed out green reader, I still think is one of the best aspects of this game. Being able to have those smaller squares becomes very important in hitting, proper clubhouse pass, long flop. People love the long flop. It kind of is the same thing as a spinner, but it just stops more immediate. So I don't like it because I play with a draw bias and this automatic fade bias. So I don't like that they do that. I think you make the game one-sided. But hey, I think it should have flipped, right? So if you're a draw bias person and you're hitting a flop shot, it should be fade bias. And if you're a fade bias person and you hit a flop shot, it should be draw bias. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works. I just don't know how it is for the draw person. But I think that's how they should do it. So that way it's well balanced across the board and doesn't favor people be fade bias. And if it is like that, then I'm wrong in the situation. I don't play on a fade bias, so I don't fully know the flop shot aspect of it. But that is the build, the Powerhouse build. Thursday, we are going to be doing a Greenskeeper build, and then tomorrow we are live streaming 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come check it out. Do not forget to like, subscribe. See you in another.